Okay, everyone can hear me okay? We're good? Okay.
Hello,
All
good
right.
morning.
So today we start a new, well, it's not, we go on with unit 7, but we get to the real meat of unit 7. All right, I'm getting a lot of feedback from somebody. Don't know who. All right, well, we'll keep going and see what we can do. All right, so page 47 is the beginning of learning the Shema. And I would like us to look at page 49 for a minute, because in the box on the lower half of page 49 is the Shema plus the first paragraph called the Ahavta. Okay, and we're just going to take a few minutes and talk about these two prayers, as it were. I don't know if it's two prayers or one prayer, I'm not sure how to refer to it, but nevertheless. So, the Shema, which is obviously the centerpiece of our beliefs. What is the feedback?
Hear that? Does everyone else hear that feedback?
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody have their
got two devices on?
No.
Does someone have me on more than one device or no?
Yeah, that will cause that.
Yeah, that's exactly what'll cause it. So, all right, well, hiccups. Okay, well, so what's nice in a way is that he doesn't give us any translation here. I'm going to share my screen so we can talk about this for a minute. Can you guys see this? Whoops, here.
Yes.
Yes, okay. I might make it a little bigger, see if it helps you. Come on. Is that good? You guys see that clearly? Okay. Hello, sorry, I just trying to make you guys bigger now. Anyway, all right, you guys are fine. All right, so the most common translation of Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, is what we have here. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. What's interesting to me is that Shema comes from the word lishmoa, which means to listen. Okay, so while all the years I've always been taught hear, I hear it. But if you also think about it, it can mean listen. Let's listen and get a sense of, just by listening to our surroundings are full of God, God is one, that sort of concept. I'm not a real spiritual person. I'm more of a ritual person than I am a spiritual person. But I wanted to share with you that there are different ways to interpret these words, Shema Yisrael. So listen, the nation of Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, our God, Adonai Echad, our God is one. So, and then the line under this, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed, which we don't recite out loud and under, right, except for once a year, right? Again, it's kind of reinforcing that we're praising his name, his sovereignty forever and ever. If any of you have any other interpretations you'd like to share, please jump in and say so. And then we get to the first paragraph. There are 3 paragraphs that are in the prayer book that are part of the Shema. This is the first one. It is the shortest one. We refer to it as V'ahavta, which is the first word that begins the paragraph. And this paragraph, just like the other 2, are full of commands to us from the Torah. So the Shema is not a command. We're not commanded to do this, although we say it, right, all the time, every day. We are commanded. This is where we are told what to do. So you shall love God, right? With all your heart, with all your soul, right? So v'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. So with all your heart, all your soul, all that is yours. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. These words that I tell you this day, you shall take to your heart. So, and so you should speak of them, you know, at all these different times of your day, when you're lying down, when you're out and about, when you rise up, right? So here I am. Shinantam v'dibar tabar v'shivtecha v'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshaftecha v'kumecha. And then this part, ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha. You're going to put them as a sign. So you're going to bind them as a sign on your hand and a sign above your eye. So this is about laying tefillin, essentially. Uchtaftam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. And you're going to put them as a sign on your doorpost. Al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. So on your houses and on your gates. And I think the line got cut off down here. But at any rate, so obviously this is the cornerstone, right, of our beliefs. And now we know enough letters to learn it all. The other thing I wanted to say about V'ahavta and the other two paragraphs that come after it is they are written with Torah Trope. So it's a little hard to see. I'm not sure if I can enlarge it. I'm going to try. Yeah, it's not responding. This is a, no. Let's see if I can view. If I can zoom in. That did not help. Oh, here. It's up here. I just saw it.
Do that zoom in again and then it'll
Yeah.
pop up.
That, there's a magnifying glass up there. That might do.
Or hit the
Oh,
hit the-
that's
hit
good.
the-
Yes, right there.
Uh-huh,
There we go.
there.
But it's going the wrong way.
Oh, there you go.
I can live
Oh,
with it.
yeah.
I can go
Going-
the opposite. There
Oh,
we
it's
go.
Hebrew.
Yes,
It's all
yes.
backwards.
There we go. So
We read Hebrew backwards.
there's Torah Trope. So like under this aleph, there's a little backwards L, forwards L. It's a backwards L, right? Okay. And then there's two dots here. There's a little comma kind of under this aleph. This is the signs for Torah Trope.
Mm,
So
mm.
I didn't appreciate that as a child. You know, I was taught how to read and sing this in Hebrew school, but I didn't understand that this trope, when it appeared under other letters and words, had the same musical meaning, right? So, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with, there are two different tropes. There's Torah Trope and Haftorah Trope, which again, I didn't appreciate were different. When I was being bat mitzvah, I was taught Haftorah Trope, but I wasn't taught Torah Trope. Girls weren't allowed to read from the Torah, and I didn't appreciate that they were different. I didn't learn Torah Trope until I took a class to learn it when my daughter was learning her bat mitzvah so that I could read Torah the morning of her bat mitzvah. But anyway, so in our book, you won't see all of these extra little marks, but in your prayer book, you will. And they're not vowels. They are simply notes for how to speak. Okay. So I wanted to explain all that to you. And you will see them in the prayer book, I think. I don't have my prayer book out, but I'm pretty sure they appear in most printings of the various paragraphs of the Shema. Okay? Okay. Questions, comments, thoughts? Anyone want to share something about the Shema? Okay, all right, ladies. So, Audrey, we were on page 49 talking about the Shema and the Ahavta in the box. But now we're going to go back. Pardon me, I'm sorry, my nose itches something awful. Go back to page 47, which is the page we left off. And we'll jump right in and get started here. All right. So let's start with line 1. Eileen, will you read?
Kavod v'ahavta
Mm-hmm.
levavecha.
So under the second vet, it's just a shva, so it doesn't add any sound.
Levavcha.
Yes,
Uvkal.
that doesn't have a dot in the middle, right? The chaf.
Uvakal.
So it's not a hard k sound, it's more of a ch sound.
Uvakal.
Chal, uvchal.
Uvkal. Hadvarim.
Mhm.
Luvavecha.
Good, okay. Marjorie, will you read line 2?
Live necha
Yes.
bishiv. Wait a minute. Bishiv da
Techa.
techa. Right. Bishe bit vetevda
Bevetecha, yes.
biteh really uvlechecha.
Slow down on, so let's
let techa. Right.
Connie, can you slow down one second? Connie, will you mute? I think we're getting the echo from your computer, so let's test it and see. Okay, let's just see what happens. All right, Marjorie, let's do the fourth word again and slow down a little.
Uvlechecha.
Exactly, you're so close. Uvlechtecha. It's a tricky word.
Uvlechtecha.
There you go.
Vadara. No, da.
So under the Dalet and under the Resh are sounds. So
Right.
de, rech.
Derech.
There you go.
Derech.
Vaderech.
Yes. Uv shak becha.
Yes, perfect. Why don't you do that
Oh,
last
wait a
word?
minute. There's one more word.
Yes,
Uv kumecha.
perfect, beautiful. So all of these words appear in one of the 3 paragraphs after the Shema, and they are tongue twisters. There's a lot of consonants with no vowels going with them, okay? So it's a lot of, I mean, it's all over the place. And I remember learning this in, like 3rd or 4th grade, and it was, your mouth was like, huh, what? But it's just what it is.
Rachel, can I ask you a favor?
Okay.
On the second line, not the little extra word below it, but could you read that last word twice, once the way it is, and once if under the bait?
Well, that's where I was getting to. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we're going to go to the asterisk at the bottom.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thanks.
Yes. So what he's showing us here is the way it's spelled in the actual word and the way he's going to show you for a slightly easier pronunciation because the yuds are silent. So we kind of went over this 2 weeks ago, I think, where the yuds have a meaning for purposes of understanding the word, but they don't have any pronunciation for our purposes. So if we look at the bottom of the page where the asterisk is, the first word, banecha. So on the right side is the way it's spelled. So if you look back on line 2, it's livanecha, the first word on line 2. But when you go down, it's the root is the same for the word. So he's showing it here in its simpler form with a bet rather than a vet and banecha. And on the left side, that's the easier pronunciation. You see, it's got no yud. It's very simple. Banecha. Then the next line he shows us, bisharecha. Again, the yud is silent. And when you look to the left, you see one less letter, bisharecha. Okay? And the final one, einecha. And then to the left, there's just the one yud, not the second yud, einecha. Okay?
Right,
So-
that wasn't my question exactly, but that's okay.
Okay. So
Right.
tell me now, what is your question?
So mine is there any difference in pronunciation of that last word on the full second line, the first full second line? If,
Ushach becha? Is that
yes,
the one? Okay.
right. So the
Ushach.
ba, is that different from if we had had the 3 dots underneath it? Really?
Underneath what?
The bait, the last bait in that word, where it has the shva underneath, I mean, it doesn't seem very short, the way we're pronouncing it is what I'm,
Oh, uv shach becha is the word. So
Right.
what you've got going on here is you've got the first vet has a shva. That's the end of the syllable. The end of the syllable uv, and then the second 2 letters shach. So the shva under the chaf.
I'm just worried about the bait.
Okay, and so now you have a new syllable starting, the bet with the
Oh,
shva,
the bet, yeah.
right? The bet with the shva tells you to give the bet a little a short sound. B'cha, uv, shach, b'cha.
And how would you say it if that were 3 dots underneath it? How would you say
3
that?
dots would be going like this, and it would be a oo sound.
No, the triangle,
Oh,
The-
3 dots in an upside down triangle.
yeah.
The S sound. So let's go to the third word. Let's go backwards. So line 2, the third word.
I
Okay.
got it.
B'veitecha. So b'veitecha.
Okay, so you just emphasize it a little bit more than you would if there were a shva.
No, it sounds completely different to me. So that here you have a tough, and it has an S, so it's te.
Uh-huh.
Techa, as opposed to b'cha, the end of the last word, uvshach b'cha versus b'veitecha.
Okay, well, so when we're saying it, I haven't been hearing us differentiate because we're saying more of a becha instead of a becha.
Maybe it's unfortunately the quality of sound you're getting, but for me, I feel like the pronunciation is very different.
I understand that, but since I'm not as familiar with the shva, I wasn't hearing that when we're doing the reading. So that's why I wanted you to read it, pretending that one time there were the 3 dots and one time there was what's really there. That's the only, I wanted to hear the difference. And I think I've got that difference now.
Okay, because
But-
for instance, if you look at the word before the last word in line 2, right?
Right.
Vaderech. Now, vaderech, you got the shva only appears in the last letter, right? The
Right,
chaf lefit, right? Vaderech. And you just get that sound. There's no vowel going with it, as opposed to the last word, uv shach becha, that last chaf sofit has a vowel going with it of ah, so it's cha.
Yeah,
right?
that's not a problem. It's just how we pronounce
The letter
consonants
before, the
when it's
shah on the
got,
letter
yeah,
before.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.
Can I ask with me muted, is everyone still getting feedback?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a lot of it still, so it must be my computer.
Do you want to sign off and sign back in? I mean, it's
You know
up to you,
what?
or just mute and unmute when it's,
I signed in. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay.
all right, we'll go slow. We're just gonna do line 3. Mary Ellen, would you read line 3, please?
Sure. V'dibarta
Mm-hmm.
bam bishik
That's a vet.
bishivateka
Very close. Beshiv techa.
bishivteka
There you go.
biveteka.
Yes.
And this is the one we just did. Bayteka.
Exactly. So I'll read it again. You did great, but I'll read it just one more time. I'll start at the beginning. V'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha veitecha. I'm sorry, I think I misread that. Beitecha. I think I said a vet when it's a bet. Beitecha. Okay. Line 4. Sue, will you read line 4?
Baruch Elohecha
Mm-hmm.
levavecha
Mm-hmm.
nafshecha.
Beautiful.
Okay. Me'odecha
You got it.
mitzabcha
Beautiful.
levavecha.
You really slayed that line. Good job. I'm serious. You
It was terrific.
Connie?
Thank you.
That was great.
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a little long, Connie, line 5.
Line 5. Livanecha
Mhm.
bishivatecha
Look at it again.
bishivatecha.
Yes.
Yeah. Bivetecha uvlechtecha. Vadarech.
Baderech.
Uv shak becha. Uv kumecha.
Beautiful. Really nice. You did great. Okay, line 6. So these are some of those extra yuds that don't give us any extra sounds, okay? So Audrey, will you read line 6?
Yadcha, Einecha,
Mhm,
Beitecha,
mhm.
Uvsharecha.
You're leaving out the second letter, which is a vet with a 1 dot E under it.
Uvisharecha.
Yes, uvisharecha. Nice, very good. Okay, Linda, line 7, please.
Sham.
Shame. Only 2
Shame.
dots.
Shame. Malchuta.
Malchuto.
Malchuto. La olam.
Lit olam.
Just la olam. Odcha.
So try that again. So
odcha.
so there's more vowels going on here than you are pronouncing. So you have the mem.
Ma'odecha.
There it is. Thank you.
Hadvo.
So again, you're skipping some of the vowels.
Hadvo rim.
Hadvarim.
Hadvarim. Mitzchavcha.
Mitzavta. I'm sorry, mitzavtecha.
Mitzchavtecha.
No, I'm mispronouncing this word. Mitzavcha. I added a letter that wasn't there. I apologize.
Mitzchavcha. Hayom.
Yes. All right. I'm going to read this back since partly I messed it up. So I'll read the whole line. And the word I was saying is another word in the Shema, but it's not the word that we were looking at. So I apologize. Okay. Line, we were just reading line 7. I'm going to read it. Okay. Shem malchuto leolam meodecha hadvarim mitzavcha hayom. So again, these are words that all appear, but they're not, it's not a phrase that you're going to see. He's kind of thrown in all different words from different parts of the various paragraphs, which is what confused me. My brain went to part of a phrase that's not printed here. So, Eileen, will you read the next line, which is 8?
Natam.
So the easy way to figure this word out is literally to figure out the syllables so that the 2 nuns go together, okay? Vashinan. Exactly.
Vashinan tam.
Perfect.
Bam.
Ooh, this one's a ooh.
Vuk. Shar tam.
Yes.
Uk. Tav tam.
Yes, tav tam. Very nice. So Vishinan tam, bam, ukshar tam, tav tam. Okay, very nice. So that brings us to line 9, Marjorie.
Vayad.
So this is an ayin that has no sound of its own, only it's a hat that we hang a vowel underneath.
Okay.
The second, okay.
Vayad.
Va'ed.
Va'ed. Oh, of course, Va'ed. Va'ahav. Vita.
So let's start to be, so the first letter just has a shva under it, right? So it's a little, right,
Va'ahad. Ta.
exactly, v'ahavta.
V'havnu.
Let's say, so here we go. Yeah, you're missing the vowel under the hey.
V'havnu.
So the yud here makes it sound that the go to I. So v'hayu, v'hayu.
Let me just make a note.
So this is an unusual word. Okay, so you've got the vav at the beginning. Okay, the vav at the beginning with the shva under it is going to sound like a V, but the vav at the end with the dot in the middle is just a vowel and it sounds oo, right? So the vav at the end, it doesn't sound like a V at all. It's a oo vowel, and the oo vowel is hanging really off of the yud. V'hayu.
V'hayum.
Okay, yeah, wait. So Connie has a quick question. I can't hear you, Connie, though. You have to unmute.
Oh, yeah. V'chayu. I thought it became an I sound when the yud was at the end of the word, but it's not at the end of the word because we have another,
You're right.
Wow.
You're right. And I think I shouldn't have said anything about that. Yud is really there as a letter, a consonant that's giving the oo at the end of the word, that vowel, something to go with. So the yud and the vav with the dot in the middle, right, is the consonant, is the syllable that sounds like you. So v'hayu. And the way I say it, v'hayu, I feel like I'm blurring the middle syllable with the yud starting the final syllable, but they're really separate. V'hayu, v'hayu. See? It's just my pronunciation is maybe a little.
It's an
slower.
ah sound. It's an ah, ha.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Got
so
it.
Rachel, one question. But
Yeah.
I thought we learned that if there was a patak or the kamish after the hey and the yud, that was pronounced high. So this.
right, well, that's what I was saying. That's exactly what we were talking about. So that's the question here is you're right, that we were taught that the yud coming after that
The
ah,
patak,
right, the
right?
patach does go to I. But I think in this case, because we have another vowel coming after it, I'm not sure if it's kind of the I and the U, or it's just the U. You see what I'm saying? The hayu. So I'm not sure if it makes a difference here. If it's the high,
You.
but then you're using the yud again. I know the word is vihayu. I'm positive of that, but I'm not exactly sure which of the,
How you break it down. Can you
right,
find out from
When,
somebody?
when you look on page 41,
yeah.
it doesn't say, I know.
I'm
It says
looking.
at the end of a word, at the bottom of that page, it says when the yud
end
comes
is
at the
pronounced
end
I.
of the word, and this isn't the end of the word.
Right, but I think we learned earlier that it doesn't have to just be at the end of the word. It can also be earlier in the word.
So is it more frequently at the end of the word, but this is an exceptional case?
I don't think it's more frequently at the end of the word. I think he's just put, because if you look at line 11, I mean, this is just the use of yud. If you look on 41 in the box, line 11, hin, chi, lanu, well, maybe that yud isn't helping us here. Let's not do that. I'm just
I
going to
don't think
confuse you.
it's going to make any difference at all. I think it's, I think you should say it. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I think you should just say it in its pure form. If you said it quickly, it would come out the same way regardless, but I think it's just vehayu. And if you're speaking it, then it's probably going to sound pretty much the same, even if you did blend those two together with a high. So,
And that's exactly what I was saying, is
yeah,
that
I
don't
agree
think
with
it's-
you.
So here, so in the homework, so I'm looking at my notes to you all. This was after our class on the 12th of November. And yud, when it follows right, either the kamatz or the patach, this is exactly what Mary Ellen was saying. But this was specifically focusing on the end of the word, but I think it doesn't matter at all. Anyway, so we have, let's just go with the hayu, and Marjorie, that means you're still on line 9. We've spent a long time making you wait, and
That's
you're on the
okay.
4th word.
Mitzavritcha,
Mitzavcha,
Vichinanitam.
so the second nun is just the end sound.
Oh, it
The
is?
shva, the shva is there and is silent. It's the end of a syllable. So the two nuns get pronounced
yes, it is.
together.
Vichinantam.
Perfect.
I can't. Vitri.
That's a dollar. That one's a dollar.
That's a dollar. Viti. Bay.
There's a single line under
Bear.
that. There's a line, a solid line under the bet.
Well, you can't tell on mine.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's not clear, but that's
Murdering this line.
it's okay. So you have the dalet with 1 dot, then you have the bet with a horizontal line and the resh with 2 dots, okay?
Okay, so it's Viti Barta
Exactly, vidibarta.
and Viha.
No, that's a little T under the hey. So it's an ah sound.
So Vihanu.
The
Well,
hayu,
that's that
right?
They were.
Viha.
Yeah, the
Again.
hayu, exactly. Okay, so I'll read line 9 back to you all.
Yeah, I murdered it.
Va'ed, ve'ahavta, ve'hayu, mitzavcha, vishinantam, vidibarta, vihayu. Okay, Mary Ellen, bring us to line 10, but unmute.
Uvkal, uvkal,
Mhm.
uvlakateka,
Okay, slow down. This one's another. So you're going to have the first syllable is the first two letters. The second syllable is the
la.
second two letters. Okay, so break it into 3 syllables.
uvlekta,
Mm-hmm.
teka, uvlateka,
Techa, techa at the end.
teka,
Yeah.
uvlateka,
Uvlech techa.
uvlekteka,
Yeah. Yeah.
uvlekteka,
Perfect. That was the perfect right there. Yeah.
uvlekteka, okay.
Mhm. And this next word is going to have the same breakdown.
Uvshak, veka.
Bicha, because that's a
It's a B,
bet.
right?
Yeah.
Uvshak, veka,
Bicha.
veka. Is that a word?
Ushach bicha. Yeah.
Uvshak, uvshak.
You're going to find it in the Shema.
Okay,
Yes. So I'll read line 10 back.
please.
Uvachal, uvachal. Now, again, a lot of people say uvachal, right? They're going to say that more as a O, but we're uvachal, uvachal. Uvlechtecha, uvshach becha. Okay. Line 11, Sue.
Uvku mecha.
Mm-hmm.
Ukshartam.
Beautiful.
Ugh. I was going to ask you this in a minute because that's a ta. Tav uvtachtam.
Right. Tav, tam.
Uvtachtam.
Yep.
Baha you.
Mm-hmm.
Baha you.
Yeah, you did beautifully. I'll read it back, but you did them all perfectly. Uv kumecha, uk shartam, uch tavtam, v'hayu, v'hayu.
Well,
Connie,
Rachel, I have a question. Would you mind going back to, and maybe that's the one I just did. Will you go back to line 8 and say the last word?
uch tavtam. So it's the same word as the third word of line 11. Uch tavtam. They're both the same.
Okay, I guess it's my old fashioned. I want to say upsa. I want to use the S.
Yes, but that right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
don't do that.
Yeah,
That'll really. Yeah, don't go there. Okay.
Say
But I
something.
understand.
Say
You
say
probably
mine.
heard it that way for a long time and in your head. Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Connie, line 12, please.
Baruch Malchuto Mezuzot.
Perfect. 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 All right. So I just want to share with you one other story. I think I was in 4th grade. It could have been 5th grade. It's so hard to remember which is which. I had go to Hebrew school, right? Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. And teacher I had was Rabbi Weiss, was that year? I think had a lot of rabbis. Hard to remember which was which. At any rate, he was treating us like we were shiva bachers. In other words, little kids in a yeshiva, and we were rewarded for how fast we could read the various paragraphs of the Shema. The faster you went, literally, he would have a stopwatch, and we would write it down on a chart. And the faster you went, the more stars he gave you. All of these words that are
I hope you're not going to do that to us.
absolutely not. I do not see the point of it. I absolutely do not see the point of it. But at the time, this was the year where I would practice the most because we were all driven by getting stars, right? Because he had a big chart in the room and everybody wanted the most stars on their line of the chart. And so maybe it's because he wanted us to practice. I don't know. But but I would practice so that I could shave off a second or two or whatever and get more stars. So these tongue twister words was, somehow important to him that we mumble them as fast as we possibly could. Just wanted to tell you that, because for me, it comes, it's a very strong memory, good or bad.
I had a
For me,
Russian
It
teacher like
feels
that.
like some of these words are very difficult.
Yes, yes. And there's no question that I don't see the point of doing them super fast because they're difficult and you lose the true pronunciation, I think, when you go that fast. Which is why, we hear people in shul saying it, and even who's ever leading the service, whether it's a rabbi or a chazan, it doesn't really matter, and they're mumbling through it, and you're still on the second paragraph, and they've finished the third and are ready to start the next prayer, right? And the third paragraph is pretty long, which we're not even going to get to it. But I'm just saying.
Do you want to know what gets me? This is just a pet peeve because I don't really understand it. And I need to pin down my rabbi or our rabbis one day. But when we're doing the Amidah, I'm reading it in English as fast as I can. And they're still done in Hebrew before I finish. And I cannot believe that they're really absorbing what they're reading.
So in that case, I think what's happening, and this kind of goes back to exactly why this rabbi was doing what he was doing, that we already understood the broad concept of the prayer, but we didn't need to focus on every single word. We were doing it by rote at that point, because if you practice it that frequently, so fast, your mouth learns this combination of sounds, right? And I think what they teach these rabbis and boys in yeshiva, if they go to Orthodox yeshiva, that they are transported just by the sounds and they're not focused on each individual word. They clearly can't focus on each word when they're doing it that fast.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my take.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And the way you're explaining it is a little nicer than the way I explained it, even though it's very similar, because you're saying the subtext, I think, is that it's still okay. They have a broad understanding and they're transported by the rhythm, as I am and a lot of people are doing when they're doing Kaddish, when they say Kaddish.
Right.
It's the rhythm that really gets you. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I believe that. And that's the whole point of the moving, the back and forth or side to side or whatever. They're not, it's a take me to this place while it's almost like a meditation. So that's why I say I'm not super spiritual, I'm more ritual. And the ritual of it puts me in a frame of mind and gives me an appreciation. So I would not be the one to teach a theology class because I am not, yeah. Anyway.
I think that was excellent, and it really was excellent. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so page 48. This is just more phrases of the Shema, so a little more tongue twisting. Linda, I think it's your turn. So will you do line 1?
Shema Yisrael. Oh, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Perfect, excellent. Eileen, will you do line 2?
Baruch Shem Bavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Lovely. Marjorie, line 3.
Not in that paragraph. V'yav v'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha.
Keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bikal.
B'chal. That one doesn't have a dot in it. Yeah.
Licha
decha.
Let's go slower. Slow on the second word there. Those are two vets. The first one has a ah under it, and the second one has a shva or nothing.
Livavcha.
Mm-hmm.
Chal.
Yep.
Nap shechcha.
Yep.
Chal. Decha.
So the last word, the aleph, has a dot in the upper left corner, so that's a O.
Of course it is. Me'odecha.
Yes, very good. You did nicely. So I'll read it back. The ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chal lebavcha uv'chal nafshecha uv'chal me'odecha. And I will tell you that when I say this in shul, I say uv'chal lebavcha uv'chal nafshecha uv'chal me'odecha, because that's how I was taught to pronounce that. Okay. Line 4, Mary Ellen.
V'hayu hadvarim halela.
Eile. You added a lamed.
Oh, sorry. Ha'ela.
There you go.
Asher Anoki
Mhm.
Mitzvaka Hayom Al Levaveka.
Beautiful. Nice. All right. Line 5, Sue. Sue, why don't you do line 5 and the first two words of line 6?
Okay. V'shinan tam levanecha v'di barta bum.
Beautiful. Okay. And Connie, will you pick up those other 3 couplets between 6 and 7?
Bishivatecha.
Slow down. You added a vowel that's not there.
Oh, Bishivtecha.
Ticha. Yeah. Yeah.
Bishivtecha. Bishay.
It's a vet. Is it vet?
The last word.
Yeah, do the last word again.
Bevetecha.
Yes.
Uvlechtecha.
Mhm.
Vaderech.
Beautiful. 2 more words.
Uvsheich becha.
So the under the
Yeah,
shin
that's right, yeah.
is ah.
Uvsach becha.
Mhm.
Uvkumecha.
Beautiful. Really good job. Audrey, would you do all the parts of line 7?
Okay. Uksharta tam tam laot al yadecha
Mhm.
Vahayu.
Mhm.
Is that a T? I can't see it very
Yeah.
well.
So we have lamed tet with a O.
Okay, that's all I need. So those are 2 tets.
Yeah.
Did I do the first word? Yes, I think so. Okay. Latota. And is that a P? I can't see
Yeah.
that either.
It should be a PH. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Latota po.
So it's
Oh,
le tota faute.
Latuta boat. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Boat. I got to remember that when there's no pimple, it's mushy. So when there's no dot, it's mushy. Bain,
Mhm.
a
Einecha. Yes. So line 7 is ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha. Okay, Linda, will you read line 8?
Uktav, Uktav Tom,
Mhm.
A
Ow, that's a dot. I mean, that's a line, not the owl.
Oh, okay. There's a dot.
No, under the ayin is a
Uh-huh.
straight line, so it's owl.
Ow. Metsu vote.
Actually,
No.
so in this case, this is mezuzot.
Oh, mezuzot. Be tech uf sha
Techa.
ta.
It's beitecha. Don't forget the vowel under that last letter.
Be techa
Mhm.
uvi sha recha.
Right, very good. Okay, so I believe the reason he's printed it, the Shema and the V'ahavta, the way he has on page 48, and he shows us a mezuzah right there with it, is that I think it used to be that in the parchment, it would often be printed this way. I don't believe the parchments are necessarily written this way, but I haven't actually opened up a parchment and looked at it. But the last one I looked at wasn't laid out in this exact fashion, but I wouldn't be surprised if 50 years ago, for some reason, they were laid out this way. So I'm going to read page 48 back to you, okay, from start to finish. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha v'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Now another thought comes to mind based on the story I previously told you about. It was Rabbi Hyatt who taught me this. Rabbi Hyatt, that the reason he had us read it so fast and constantly try to get faster is it just becomes rote. It's like I have to tell myself to stop and look at the words rather than just zoom through it for you guys. Because you do it that much, it just gets ingrained in you and, you know, it's just rote. It's like saying the alphabet, right? Singing the alphabet song when we teach it to our little ones. So maybe that was his purpose as well. I don't really know. Okay, what time is it? We have more time. Okay, so let's move to page 49. And the phrases here, interestingly enough, you're going to recognize from some of them from Passover, but whatever. Eileen, will you start us at the top of page 49, line 1? So the word the word at the top is echad, right? Means one.
Yisrael, Yisrael, Eretz, Yisrael.
Perfect, thank you. Mary Ellen, will you do line 2? Oh, that's a cheater line.
I'll take that.
You have to do line 2 and line 3. So just read one word in line 2, they're all the same, and then read line 3.
Ehad, ehad, mi, urea,
So that you have a yud and then the vowel O.
yo,
Then you have a
yo,
dalid.
yo, re,
That's a dalid, not a resh.
Oh, I'm
That's what I was-
sorry.
Okay.
odea,
Yodea. So
yodea.
echad mi yodea. So from Chad Gadya song, right? Echad mi yodea. Who knows one?
That's one.
That's the
Okay.
phrase.
That's why
Okay.
it has the question mark after it. Okay.
Exactly. That's the phrase. Marjorie, will you do line 4?
Echad, Echad Yalohenu.
Where, no, you're reading a word that's.
Oh, I'm
not-
sorry, I'm reading line 5. I cheated.
Oh, okay, yes, line 4.
Sorry. Echad Ani Yodecha.
De'ah.
Yodeya.
Yodea. An echad ani yodea. I know one. That's what that translates to. Again, right from the song. Line 5, Sue.
Echad Eloheinu Shabash Shamayim
Beautiful.
Uva Aretz.
You are just zooming, my girl. That was great. Line 6, Connie.
Unmute. Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. So what do we have for time? All right. Well, so we've technically done what's in the box because it was what's on the right side of the page, correct? Page 48 is exactly the same as what is in the box on page 49. Okay. Okay. So let's turn to page 50. And let's learn. Well, do we know this letter already?
Yes.
I think we do, right? This is a samach. Am I right, ladies? We've learned this letter before.
Are there any letters we haven't learned yet?
I don't think so. I think we've learned them all. So this is just like the sin, right? The samach and the sin are just an S sound, okay? The target words at the top of the page, Nisucha, Sof, and Segula. So he's just giving us practice on this, the samach.
Why do you have two letters that are exactly the same?
I can't answer that.
But we have that in English.
I mean, this is, yeah, and this is,
I think about
Finally.
that every time I think Hebrew is repetitive, I think, well, we're even worse in English. So I think it's just how things happened a few thousand years ago.
You know, why in English do we have PH sound like F?
Right. And our C sounds like S sometimes, and sometimes it sounds like a K, and you know.
Right. And honestly, those things become more apparent to me now that I have some appreciation of Italian, which I never learned, but I went to Italy and I was several things were explained to me that in Italian, every letter is pronounced. So for instance, like an E at the end of the word is never silent. You actually pronounce that E. And the difference between two C's together versus one C by itself, right? And so Hebrew is not all that different. I think English is the really screwed up language.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Eileen.
I never read it, but I always sing it. In the song Sim Shalom, which of the letters is used? Is it the samech or the sin?
I think it's a sin, not a samach.
I only sing it, I never
Shalom.
read the word.
Give me 1 second. I'll tell you in a half a second.
I think it's the sin.
I think so too. All right, I'm pulling it up. Here it is. Sim Shalom.
Hi, I'm Sarah Wolf,
Yes,
and
you
I'm
are.
going to sing
Just-
the Sim Shalom.
Just there it is. I just want to. So it's sim. It's a sin yud mem, and then just like shalom. So but now you have a shin lamed. Anyway, so it's two. It's a sin and a sin. I can't say the letters now. A sin
Sin,
and a
sin.
shin in sim shalom. Okay, that help any?
Yeah.
Okay,
Rachel, can you
Yes.
do all these prayers without vowels now yourself?
me.
Yeah.
I used to do very well without vowels, but when I finished college, I could read Hebrew without vowels. But you know, that's been a long time ago.
And was that prayer Hebrew, or was that also modern Hebrew?
Probably both.
Wow.
Probably, I mean, because I took it for so long, so many years in a row,
Yeah.
that it was just, you just, I got a sense of it and I could figure it out.
I'm a little envious. Can I
Well,
ask, where did
But
you
I can't do
go?
it now. It's foggy to me now.
Uh-huh.
I'm vowels, I'm good. Without vowels, I'm not so good.
Where did you go to college? Because I don't know that I've ever been anywhere that had that much Hebrew.
Oh, now colleges, many. I went to University of Pennsylvania, but
Uh-huh.
it's very, Hebrew is not uncommon in colleges. What's amazing now is how much Arabic, all of the Arabic and different, because I know I have contemporaries whose children are becoming fluent in all these, even if they're thinking about going into the foreign service. So they learn Arabic and they learn Farsi, and you name it. It's kind of amazing. Okay,
Where we used to all learn French and German
right,
for the foreign service,
right.
particularly French.
Yeah. So, okay, so we'll stop.
Can you just read the headline on page 50?
Yes. The target words, the ones with the two arrows, ne sera, sauf, and segula. Okay. We're heading into learning the Chadodi, which is the second half of the goal for this unit. And I think I mentioned it before that I felt like my last class struggled a little bit with Chadodi. That's the first time I seemed to feel like they were, struggling a bit. But, if you go to Friday night services and you're familiar with it, the words, will start to, again, I think you'll say, wow, that's not what I thought we were saying, but that's okay. You'll learn to read it. And I'm going to share with you a couple of websites that you can look at if you want to. You don't have to. One of them is called Bearman House Prayer Practice, and it's a free online resource. And what's nice about it, it's good and bad. So you can pull up a prayer and you can click on the word, and some Israeli will say that word for you. The issue with that is they're Israelis and they don't say it as slow as I do, but they say them very nicely. And I think, and what's nice is you pick the word you want them to say for you. So if you feel like you're not sure how to say a word in the Kiddush, you can hear an Israeli say it perfectly.
Could you repeat the name of that site, please?
I'm going to send it to you. I'll give you the,
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
going to send it
great,
to you.
thank you,
That's good.
I'll send you the link. Mary Ellen?
thank you.
I noticed the site you sent us for the Rabbi Hava Zane, is it?
She had a nice voice.
She has a whole bunch of YouTubes with all the prayers.
That's what I thought. I thank you for mentioning that. I had forgotten.
And if you listen and then look at the book, don't look at the words, but look at the words in the book, that helps. And she has no accent. So that's,
She has transliteration, doesn't she?
she
She
does. But if you
does.
don't look at it, you're just
Exactly.
You don't
listening.
have to.
But that's why I didn't mention it, because of the but I agree with you, Marilyn. She's American, but she's beautiful pronunciation. They're very high quality recordings. And you just have to not look at the transliteration. You have to look down at your book or your prayer book or whatever.
Right.
I
But
agree
she's
with
got
you.
every prayer, I think.
I think she might, her YouTube channel. So I'll see if I can remember to send you that too. Or Mary Ellen, maybe you'll reply to everyone with her name or something.
Okay.
That's the one that I previously sent you for
Right.
Kiddush.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I'll send it
she's
again.
just a lovely voice.
She is. She's beautiful. And again, she pronounces it the way we are all learning to pronounce it, as opposed to there's a lot of YouTubes out there with very European pronunciations, very old pronunciations that I didn't want to confuse you with.
Excuse me a minute.
Go right ahead.
Hello.
Okay, so that's class for this week. Technically, we only have 2 more classes. We go up to December 17th, but I'm happy to keep going.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
That'd be
Yes.
wonderful.
because we need to finish this book. And if you guys still have Friday mornings available, I'm here for you. We're gonna keep going. Is that all right?
Love to do that.
Yes, Rachel, yes. When will
That'd
they
be great.
send out something for the next registration?
I think pretty soon, but I'm not positive. That's, I don't necessarily get advance notice of it, but I should this time because the conversation we had was that I was to give them your name so that you guys kind of got a pre-registration. So, but they haven't told us yet.
Okay, yeah.
But
I
in
wanna-
order for you to go on to the advanced beginner, we need to finish the book. I mean, that's where the advanced beginner picks up is at the conclusion of this book. Okay,
Are you able to keep going with us even past advanced beginner?
I'm not guaranteed to be your advanced beginner teacher, no.
Okay.
I have only been teaching beginners,
Okay.
but they might keep you together as advanced beginners. That they kept most of my last students together. They wanted to be together and I'm pretty sure they kept them together.
That would be nice.
Okay, but that class isn't starting till February. So
I think we got spoiled for anybody else, actually.
nonsense. There's plenty of good teachers out there. And I told you that I was very pleased to hear that my students were very well prepared. But again, we went through the summer. We didn't stop at the end of the first 3 months. They ended up getting almost like they got a full 6 months, which is I think what you need to really get everything out of this book
Yeah.
and for it to sink in. So, because that's the other piece is I don't want you to stop on December 17th and not pick up again until February something.
No,
Because you guys are going to forget. You're going
you
to
lose too
lose
much
it.
ground doing that. You really lose ground when you
Right.
stop.
I agree. So I'm here for you. Not going anywhere.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
The other thing I find is that when I start almost at the beginning of this book and just practice it feels so much more comfortable, but it still is just starting to feel comfortable. So going
I say
backwards
yes.
and then a little bit forwards is.
No, but
is-
and I think
is-
that's where you get momentum because you see that you can go quicker and you can do more sight reading when you go back to the very beginning. And then the stuff that's more recent, you slow down and you have to sound out a little bit more.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it builds up your confidence and all practice is good practice.
Yeah.
All righty?
Okay. Thank you.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Excellent.
Happy
Shabbat
Hanukkah.
shalom.
Hanukkah.
Happy
Thank you.
Hanukkah.
Yes.
Okay. Good
All right,
job.
bye-bye.
Bye.